Hi there, it's Riikka Kovasin here. Come and meet Margaret, Louise and Sheryll. They are a bunch of wonderful ladies that inspired this art journaling spread. So, hi, let's get started. For this spread, I'm using a piece of patterned paper that I actually used to make some cards earlier this month. And I want to use that leftover piece right away because I am a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to patterned papers, and I tend to take another sheet rather than use the ones I hoard, the little bit left, used ones. So instead, this time I wanted to use it right away because that's, missing a whole lot. I'm then covering that by using these little strips. That was also kind of my goal because I have just a few of these Tim Holtz strips left. I wanted to use the package, so this was the perfect way to get use of those. After covering the whole area, I added a little bit of kind of whitewash on top using acrylic paint, just a teeny tiny amount so you can still see the pattern underneath. And now I'm making another layer using stencils and the same paint. So there's going to be these whiter areas, still kind of a ghost-like pattern, so it's not that visible. But when I add some colorants on top, the acrylic still works like a resist still, so it's really fun. I'm using 2 stencils and kind of mixing the patterns here and there just to make the background a little bit eclectic looking. After then letting the paints dry, I then used distress ink on top. As you can see, I just pressed the ink pads directly to the paper and then use a wet brush to spread the color. And here you can see how the paint resisted the ink a little bit, so the pattern is more visible in places. I finish this inky layer with some splashes. I then used some Sizzix dies to cut these houses out of white cardstock and then colored them using a couple of paper artsy acrylic paint colors. I picked these colors from the layers underneath, so they are kind of these pale vintagey tones. I then ink the houses twice, kind of adding a worn looking layer, more smudged layer first, and then going over the edges, getting a bit more definition there. Now the page is looking a little bit different because I trimmed it to the size fitting inside my journal and then again combined the 2 pages by adding some washi tape running across horizontally, so the 2 pages now stay put. I then start to make the composition by adding some frames to the background, and I'm gluing this using just craft glue. For example, this 3rd frame is kind of essential that it's adhered properly because I'm then cutting the pages loose again to get them inside my journal, so it's handy to have those elements securely put. I then add the little houses in place by using just craft glue and some foam tape as well to make the composition a little bit more dimensional. Now I'm making some vintage tape because when the tape stickers came out, I wanted some, but unfortunately was left out because they sold out so quickly. So I then made my own, and it's quite easy. I'm using just regular see-through tape and then adding alcohol ink on top using 2 colors with a sponge, and then I just cut the tape in smaller pieces and add them where I want. So it's this worn kind of vintagey looking tape, but easily kind of made if you have alcohol inks or access to those. These are just little accents here and there. And you can see how the houses are already in place, as well as the bunch of ladies there and a car. Now I'm making the composition a little bit fuller by adding some gauges here and there. And then I'm adding some labels as well. These gauges I inked around the edges a little bit earlier. You couldn't see that in the video, but I then do the same thing for the little labels. I also crumble them a little bit so they look more worn that way. I then cut the 2 pages loose, and then they are ready to be inserted inside my journal, and I'm also adding a little written journaling to the left side page. I was looking through the sentiment stickers and text stickers but couldn't find the one I wanted, so I just used my mom's old typewriter to type it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing. I'll be seeing you within a week. Thanks again. Bye.